time to podcast. Welcome to the second episode of my podcast, Season Southern. I am your host, Chef Martika TheSoulfulCook Wells. On today's episode, we will explore the connections between cooking and life. In this episode, we'll delve deeper into the importance of having patience, trust, and an open mind, and how these virtues can lead to success and fulfillment in both the kitchen and in life. So sit back, relax, and join me as we explore the many ways in which cooking can teach us valuable lessons about life. This one's for my seasoned Southern family. All right, y'all. So, cook time of food can be related to life circumstances and situations in various ways. For example, during busy work days or hectic periods, people may opt for quick and easy meals with shorter cook times. On the other hand, during leisurely weekends or a special occasion, people may be more willing to invest time into preparing elaborate meals with longer cooking times. Additionally, personal preferences and dietary restrictions can also impact the cooking time of food. Overall, the cooking time of food can vary on individual circumstances and situations. One way to know if your food is done cooking is to use a thermometer to ensure that it has reached a safe internal temperature. Additionally, for foods like pastas and vegetables, you can taste test a small piece to see if it is cooked to your desired level of doneness. In general, following the recipe instructions and using your senses, sight, smell, taste, can help you determine when your food is ready to be served. And I'm gonna stop right there because I'm, of course, reading from my show notes. And if you have my Patreon or you're subscribed to my Patreon, you know that I do the behind the scenes, and I've already voiced that I read from my notes that I take. But this point right here on your judgment, I feel like in life, our judgment can determine, I won't say judgment, I think the word that I would like to use is discernment. And so having a sense of discernment in life, for instance, if you had somebody at a restaurant to deliver you some food to your table and the smell was off, you need to use your sense of discernment to send that food back because it's probably spoiled, right? And the same thing, again, like I said, use your senses. And in life, using our sense of discernment is using your common sense. And outside of, cooking time, how long does it take you? What's the time that it takes you to put your sense of discernment in place? I think a lot of us have to ask ourselves that question because a lot of us as adults don't use our common sense. And I'm pretty sure that as you're listening to me, somebody already came to mind that you're thinking about that does not use their common sense. And so the first thing that we're going to take away from this today is applying our sense of discernment, because one, we were blessed with it, but then two, just using your common sense in your everyday life with everything that you do. If it don't make sense, why are we doing it? Going back to my show notes, it's good to wait when cooking food to ensure that it is properly cooked and safe to eat. And it's the same thing with making decisions in life. Sometimes it's good for us to wait in life to make decisions. Have you ever considered that right now might not be the time to do something? And if you consider that as a thought in the back of your mind and you're not sure, you probably should wait. Again, sense of discernment, using our common sense, right? It's also good to wait in life when making important decisions, to take the time to carefully consider all the options and make a well-informed choice. The more informed that your choices are, the better off you'll be in life. Additionally, Waiting can be beneficial when working towards your long-term goals, as it often takes time and patience to achieve significant progress and success. So I'm going to read that again for everybody that's trying to rush themselves and speed through the process, because again, last week we learned that our passion aligns our purpose, right? So what we're passionate about is going to align our purpose on what we should be doing, like what God has called us to do, right? And so if we take time to wait, number one, and hear from God, like, hey, this is what I want you to do because you're passionate about this. This is the purpose that I've designed for you. Then we take this waiting period after hearing and make it beneficial to work towards the long-term goals that we're writing down for ourselves. Because if you're not writing it, if you haven't wrote the vision and made it plain, you're not trying to achieve nothing, baby. Okay? As often as it takes time and patience to achieve significant progress. So not mediocre progress, not small progress, not small success and accomplishments, but significant, meaning that it has the potential to change your life on making you better, right? And so going back to like the cooking time of food, right? Rushing through the cooking process can lead to undercooked or burnt food, okay? Which can result in an unsatisfactory and an unappetizing meal. And for someone as a caterer and also someone who specializes in Southern cuisine, there is no way possible that a lot of my dishes can be rushed, whether it's the collard greens, because I'm taking this turkey leg and I'm boiling it and I have to wait until it boils. That takes 2 hours. I gotta put the greens in there. The greens, when they're fresh, they take time to cook. So it's a lot that goes into it and it cannot be rushed. There is a time that I have to start in order to have it ready so that it is satisfactory and appetizing to my client, right? So by taking the time to follow the recipe and cook the food properly, and the end result is definitely going to be enjoyable and satisfying to my client, like without a doubt in my mind. Additionally, if you have patience while cooking, it can also help reduce stress and promote mindfulness, which can have positive effects on overall well-being. Okay, I'm gonna take me a sip of water. Sorry if you can hear me sipping. Okay. All right. So, where was I? Okay. So, speaking on the rushing the cooking process was where I was at, and how we're not rushing it. Okay, starting there, we're not rushing it because, again, like I said, we want it to be enjoyable and satisfying. So if you take that and apply it to your life, rushing through life can lead to missed opportunities and unsatisfactory experiences. So just as rushing through the cooking process can lead to undercooked or burnt food, rushing through life can lead to missed opportunities and experiences that may have been enjoyable and fulfilling if given the proper time and attention. So by taking the time to pace yourself and enjoy the journey as it happens, you can savor experiences and make the most of what life has to offer. I'm gonna run that back for y'all. Rushing through life can lead to missed opportunities and unsatisfactory experiences. Just as rushing through the cooking process can lead to undercooked or burnt food, rushing through life can lead to you having missed opportunities and experiences that may have been enjoyable and fulfilling if you gave it the proper time and attention. By taking the time to pace yourself and enjoy the journey as it happens, you can savor experiences and make the most of what life has to offer you. Now, ain't that good? To God be the glory. So, having patience in life can be related to having patience while cooking, because in both situations, it's important to take the time to do the things properly and thoroughly. Just as rushing through a project at work can lead to mistakes and the same thing, unsatisfactory results. All y'all work in some way, form, or fashion. Whether you're a caterer like me, you're an entrepreneur in another field, maybe graphic design, web design, maybe you're let's see, maybe you're a baker, and you have your own cake support. Like, look at me, cake support. I don't even know what I'm looking for, but you get what I'm saying. Everybody works in some type of way, right? And whatever you're doing, like for instance, my aunt, she works at the bank, right? And she puts in these checks that come in, that like deposits that get put into the system. And she originally like worked in the vault for a little while too. And so like the money that comes into the bank has to be logged. But if she rushed through that, do you think that she would miscount the money that she should be like saying was deposited? She probably would. And so that's what I mean by work and leading to mistakes. Because the last thing, especially using her being in the banking industry, the last thing you will want to find out is that the banker where you deposited your money, or at the corporate office, they misrepresented the numbers, and maybe you had like $1,100 that you put in there and they only put 100, and so you missing a whole 1,000. Like, come on now, that's a bad mistake to be making. And so we not rushing, right? At the end of the day, that's the point that I'm proving. We're not rushing anything that we're doing. We're gonna take time. We're gonna be grateful for where we are now, because I guarantee you that where you are right now is not where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. So you have to be grateful and live in the moment that you're in right now, because it's no need to rush where you're headed to. Your journey is your journey, okay? All right, so outside of my little rant, because I'm about to get emotional, y'all. All right, rushing through the cooking process can lead to undercooked food or burnt food, like I said. By taking the time to follow the recipe and cook the food properly, the end result is more likely to be enjoyable and satisfying. I think we already went over that, right? So, passion and purpose. Again, passion and purpose, y'all. I think I'm finna take through every episode, because I'm coming up with about 10 so far. I'm ready for y'all, like ready to go. And I think that in some type of way, shape, and form, that every time that I speak to y'all gonna hear me talk about your passion and your purpose, okay? Because my goal is to help you figure it out through whatever whatever advice that I could give you. Y'all, I'm honestly not feeling well, and I am up, recorded later than what I should have. I had a fever of 102.3 yesterday, and somehow I got my fever to break yesterday. A 1-day fever, like, I know it sounds insane, but I can't be sick. I got kids who got game, and so I'm still a little bit congested. So I really apologize for like not feeling well, but I don't apologize because like, how can I control it? But you get what I'm saying. So my apologies for coughing on the mic, but I'm not stopping this. I'm not re-recording nothing. I'm just giving it to you, and I'm giving you all I got, okay? All right, so passion and purpose. I'm not gonna get off of it, but it can relate to cooking time too, okay? And cooking times, in that individuals who are passionate about cooking and they have a clear purpose for doing so may be more willing to invest time in longer cooking processes. And I feel like that resonates with me so much. Again, I am a Southern cuisine specialist. I don't like calling it soul food. I feel like soul food is ghetto. I also think about the movie Soul Food every time I say that. And also, like, I just want y'all to type into like Instagram, for instance. If you put soul food inside of Instagram, it's all type of different countries that say they make soul food. And so, again, I am a Southern cuisine specialist and a caterer at the same time. Like, that's what I cater, but that's what I specialize in. And I do other things, Mexican, Chinese, like, I really don't care. I like food that much that I'm willing to learn other cuisines. And like I said, we'll discuss other cuisines on some of these episodes, but that's what I specialize in, right? And just what it said, individuals who are passionate about cooking and have a clear purpose for doing so may be more willing to invest time into longer cooking processes, in that I am. For example, someone who is passionate about creating healthy and delicious meals may be willing to spend more time prepping fresh ingredients and experimenting with different cooking techniques to achieve the perfect flavor and texture. This is me. That's why if y'all read my articles, I consider myself a recipe developer, because I'm never going to take a recipe and use it verbatim, right? I'm never just going by what they say, because a lot of these recipes do not intrigue me. They just give me a good idea of where to start, and I decide where I finish, right? And that's the beauty of cooking, is that I would say cooking savory food, because when you bake it, it's a science to it. And if you don't follow the recipe, you're going to be SOL. And y'all know what that means if you grown. So, yeah, we're not trying to be SOL. However, with cooking savory food, so like chicken, fish, potatoes, again, spaghetti, like I said last week, all of this stuff is interchangeable the way you see fit. And so I've developed so many recipes and different cooking techniques. Like, I can fry food that has batter on it in the air fryer and make it look like it came out the deep fryer. That's me being passionate about my craft and building a skill to where it's like, hey, this is the new thing that's going on, this air frying technique and air frying everything. And then you learn about all of the diseases that people have. So like diabetics, people who have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, like they don't need nothing that's deep fried anyway. So it's like, if I'm willing to accommodate dietary, like restrictions for my clients, I have to learn these other techniques, because the one way that I know is not always the way, right? And it's like that in life. The one way that we're thinking something can go, you might need to pivot and transition the way that you're thinking, because you might need another recipe. Did you think of that? You need another recipe, and it'll all work out. And so, similarly, someone who has a clear purpose for cooking, such as hosting a dinner party or providing nourishing meals for their family, may be motivated to invest the time to prepare a delicious and satisfying meal for their family. But on the other hand, you do have individuals who do not have a clear passion or purpose for cooking, and the same way they know their life, and may be more likely to opt for quick and easy meals or results with shorter cooking times. They want to cook shorter, y'all. They don't want to cook as long, So it is important to get clear on what you are passionate about. And I feel like the way that you do get clear on this is determine, like, what are you willing to do that if you didn't get paid to do it, you'll still enjoy it. Like, that's really how I determine creating Solely Soulful Southern Cuisine LLC. Like, that's how my brand started, was because I know that I'll cook for people regardless. Like, I don't have I don't have any restrictions when it comes to cooking. I feel like food is the one thing that we don't deny people. And so if there is a person that can't afford it, now look, hold on, let me take another sip. Okay, now, there's a person who cannot afford catering. Look, y'all, I'm tickled, because I don't want nobody being like, hey, can you cater? And you got 100 people and no money. Like, no. I mean, like, I cook for my family and you hungry and ain't got nothing to eat, and I fix you a little plate. That's what I mean by give it away, right? But you guys get my point. Like, nobody doing anything for free anyway, especially not these days, and the complaint of inflation and things of that nature. So I want to give y'all a little something. Like, if you don't know where your passion lies and you haven't really thought about it, again, use that question like, what is it that I love so much that I'll be okay if I ain't get paid to do it? But I would prefer to get paid, of course. Like, I do want you to consider that. So, but what is that thing that like you like it that much? Like, you're okay with doing it for free and you find yourself actually doing it often for free because you might do it for yourself. What is that? And if you know or you figuring it out as you listening to this episode, put it in the comments. So, one message I want to give y'all on determining, or if you know your passion but haven't figured out how to turn it into like your journey walk for your purpose, I want both of those type of people that's listening to trust the process. So I got this message this week, and I'm gonna do my best not to get super emotional. But there's this church that's on a hill, and it's called Prayer Mountain. Like, that's the name of it. It's here in Dallas, off of Mount Creek Parkway, which is like the Duncanville area. And I went here last week before I did my episode last Friday. And I went more so because I just wanted to cleanse spiritually. Like, if I could be all the way honest, okay? And there was this guy that was there. He was an older guy, like not a guy that was like my age, because I'm 31. And he was every bit old enough to be my granddaddy. But he asked me if he could share something with me, right? Said that the Lord had gave him a message to give to me. And y'all, that was the message: trust the process. And I literally like broke down because I was already waiting to like hear from God. And like, when you're doing your spiritual cleanse, like in your spiritual work, you know when you hear from him. Like, you know when you hear from the Lord, okay? And I know for a fact with everything in me that was all he wanted me to do, okay? And I am human, just like anyone else. And as humans, we do tend to like over exaggerate, you know, like, or just naturally as a human, we tend to be fragile and anxious and impatient, which makes trusting anything very challenging for us. And we have to let go of the control that makes trusting anything we have to let go of the control that, like, it's a need to know the answer every single time. And that's what I mean by, like, I went here to cleanse, but I also got a word from God. And that's exactly what I needed. But in the moment, I was anxious. I might have been stressed. And I don't know, but something just told me, like, go to the mountain today. And I did, in obedience. And I went there and, again, met this guy who had a word for me, which was the words that I was looking for. And I just feel like, one, like, the podcast is new for me. And so I'm really stepping outside of my comfort zone to be uncomfortable and vulnerable for my Seasoned Southern podcast family that I am building, my community. And so, yeah, guys, I want to give that to you too, to trust the process. So, trusting the process means having faith in the journey and believing that the steps taken will lead to positive outcome. This can apply to both cooking and life in general. In cooking, it means following the recipe and trusting that the ingredients and the technique will come together to create a delicious meal, right? But in life, it means staying committed to your goals and trusting that the steps taken will lead to success and fulfillment. So trusting the process requires your patience. It requires you to persevere and have a willingness to embrace uncertainty and challenges along the way. So you also need to have an open mind when cooking, right? And this can be related to having an open mind in your everyday life. When one has an open mind, they're receptive to new ideas and experiences and are willing to consider different perspectives or different approaches. Similarly, when one is open-minded in cooking, they're willing to experiment with different ingredients and techniques, and then to be creative in their own kitchen. By keeping an open mind and being willing to try new things, individuals can approach both cooking, because I told y'all gonna like food by the time we done with this, okay? And I don't know when we gonna be done. I'm just doing what I'm called to do. And life, okay? You're gonna approach life too with a sense of curiosity. You're gonna be adaptable and you're gonna be resilient. I'm affirming that for you. So I want you to say, I am curious, I am adaptable, and I am resilient, because I'm affirming it for you and you finna affirm it for yourself. So have an open mind, okay? Although there is no direct relationship between having potential and being inspired to cook, having the potential to be a great person who enjoys life for what it is can indirectly relate to cooking, because cooking can be a way for you to enjoy life. Y'all, I told you that. Food is life. It's us. Like, love is within you. You don't search for it. Food, it gotta go in you. Like, you're gonna always want it. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, food is life. And having the potential to be a great person who enjoys life for what it is the indirect relationship that you have with cooking, because cooking helps you enjoy. It's also stress relieving, guys, by the way. But connect with others is another way that cooking helps you enjoy life, because food brings people together, okay? And so you're sharing this meal with people, enjoying life, having laughter, and it expresses creativity, right? And that's what you have to do. Like, when you're passionate about something, and again, you can do it without being paid to do it, this is your creative expression, okay? So, where am I? Additionally, okay, developing cooking skills can be a way to unlock your potential within yourself and explore new interests and passion. By trying new recipes and experimenting with different ingredients and techniques, you can discover talents that you never knew you had, strength that you never knew you had. And so overall, cook time, patience, trust, and having an open mind can teach us a valuable lesson about life. By applying these principles to our everyday lives, we can approach challenges with a sense of equanimity and resilience, and cultivate a greater sense of well-being and fulfillment. Okay? And there is no one size fits all answer question, like, related to timing of when to do something and when not to do something, as the right time to take opportunities will vary depending on the individual, their circumstances, their goals. And so it's important to be mindful of opportunities to stay open to new experiences and possibilities. It can also be helpful to have a clear understanding of one's values and priorities, as this can guide decision making and help determine which opportunities are worth pursuing. Ultimately, the decision to take an opportunity should be based on careful consideration, and again, that's using your sense of discernment, careful consideration, okay? And a willingness to take risk and embrace new challenges, all right? So, patience is going to be key in life, because it allows anyone to take the time to do things properly and thoroughly. So we're not rushing in life. Or again, remember, you're undercooked or burnt food. You don't want to be there in life, right? You don't want to be undercooked. We well done over here. If you are part of the Seasoned Southern family, you are well done, okay? And I need you to affirm that too. Say, I am well done. Like, drop it in the comments, y'all. Like, I am really giving it to you today, okay? What was I saying? So yes, pace yourself, okay? And then A mindset shift is a change in one's way of thinking or perceiving a situation. It involves recognizing and challenging one's existing beliefs and assumptions and adopting a new perspective or approach that can lead to a personal growth and development. To have a mindset shift, one must be open to new ideas and willing to challenge their own belief systems and their biases. This can involve seeking new information, reflecting on past experiences, and engaging in support from others, such as a therapist or a mentor. You don't know what you need? I don't know what you need. You do know what you need, right? So if you need a therapist, hey, they be advertising better help. I ain't gonna advertise because I ain't getting no affiliate, but it's things out here to help you if you feel like counseling is the option. And counseling, as in therapy, is an option for you. But for some people, you may just need a mentor because you need guidance. And so these two types of people can provide guidance and help facilitate a mindset shift process for you. Ultimately, having a mindset shift requires a willingness to embrace change and uncertainty and a commitment to personal growth and development. And so, also, guys, hey, I want to pause right here. Do not forget to subscribe to the Seasoned Southern podcast. It's on YouTube, which will be my YouTube channel, Seasoned Southern. And I'm also on Spotify, Seasoned Southern Podcast by The Soulful Cook. Okay. And so I post weekly episodes. Join our Seasoned Southern family as we explore the connections between cooking and life. So I'm going to see y'all there as my subscriber. Now, before I go, because I am running low on time, got to get the kids from school, daycare, whatnot, I want to give y'all 9 reasons you need to trust the process. And this is about to get good, so turn it up, okay? All right. The first thing, trusting the process can bring about a sense of inner peace and self-control because it allows individuals to be calmer and patient when faced with uncertainty and challenges. When one trusts the process, they are able to accept that there may be unexpected setbacks and delays along the way and are better equipped to handle these situations with a sense of equanimity and resilience, okay? By cultivating a calm and patient mindset, individuals can reduce stress and anxiety and promote a greater sense of inner peace and well-being. Additionally, trusting the process can help individuals feel more in control of their lives as they are able to focus on the steps they can take in the present moment rather than worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. This can promote a greater sense of self-control and agency, which can have positive effects on your overall mental health and well-being. Okay, that's the first reason we're gonna trust the process, because we want to be well. Okay, we're too blessed to be stressed. The second reason we're going to trust the process is so we can build self-confidence by allowing ourselves to take ownership of our journey and our outcomes. When you trust the process, you are able to accept that there may be setbacks or difficulties along the way, but you also have faith that will overcome the difficulties that you're having and ultimately help you achieve your goals. So by taking an active role on your journey and trusting your own ability, again, trust your own ability, you are capable, y'all, of so much more than what you give yourself credit for. I cannot stress that enough. And you know how I know? Because when I go to the gym, my personal trainer pushes me and I end up doing machines I never thought I could do, lifting weights that I never thought I could lift if I could talk. But that's my trainer's goal, is to show me, like, you doing what you comfortable with ain't gonna get you to where you want to go. So you got to get uncomfortable lift these weights, do this, do that, whatever he's telling me to do to see the results I'm trying to see. And it's the same thing with you. So you need to take an active role in your journey and trust your own ability, where you can develop a greater sense of self-efficacy and self-reliance. This can lead to increased self-confidence and a greater willingness to take risk and pursue new opportunities without relying on the validation and approval of others, because we don't need that. We don't need nobody to validate us, and we don't need nobody's approval to do what we need to do, especially if I'm walking in my purpose and doing, like, being obedient to what God has called me to do. I don't need the approval from nobody. I already got the approval from him, meaning it's go time, all right? So I need y'all to develop the go time mentality, because that's what we're doing over here at this point. Ultimately, trusting the process can help you develop a stronger sense of yourself and a greater sense of empowerment. Like, feel the power that you were blessed with, because you're in total control. Now, nobody else. We all grown over here, okay? Which can have positive effects on your overall well-being. So while you sit there stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, when really nobody's thinking about you, this is what you need to do. Embody that empowerment that you were blessed with, and understand that nobody has to validate you or even hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? You don't need the approval, just nothing. It's you. You are nothing, okay? You against the world, okay? Like my personal trainer say, mind over matter. All right, let's go. Number 3, we trusted the process because we're building potential by allowing ourselves to take ownership of this journey, right? So when you trust the process, you're able to accept that there may be setbacks, okay? By taking an active role in your journey, you're going to have a greater sense of your accountability and have a positive effect on your potential, so you can move out of potential and into purpose. Because when you're in potential, you're stuck. I'm sorry to say it, but that's just that. Like, you have the potential to do something that you willingly not doing. Why is it? Why do we do that as people? Why do we live in our potential versus walking in our purpose if we don't need the validation from somebody? Y'all let me know in the comments, okay? Moving along. Trusting the process can demonstrate that you're open-minded, okay? So this is number 4, y'all. Because it's required, trusting the process through an open mind requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty yet again, right? And so when you trust the process with an open mind, your possibility of the journey may not always be straightforward or predictable to you. And you understand that because, again, what are we doing? We're trusting the process, pretty much, okay? And so it's unpredictable. We don't know. Like, there are so many variables that goes into achieving the goal. Like, maybe you have a goal. Like, for instance, one of my goals would be, let's see, reading more, something easy, okay? However, I have to sit down and assess my timing on, do I really have time to read? And it's like, people, what's the saying, y'all? Make time for things they want to make time for. So, right, if I really wanted to read, then I would do that, right? And one thing, okay, like, going back to the statement of, like, it being unpredictable, or there being unexpected challenges. So one unexpected challenge with reading is that I already have a dislike for reading. So determining books that are good for me, that'll keep me intrigued, is one of the obstacles that I face. And one thing that sets me back is not properly managing my time, right? So that I can sit down and read. And like, at one point I was doing it, I had an alarm clock set for it and everything, and now it's like, it's been like, oh, to hell with it, because at the end of the day, like, I have kids and my kids are extracurricular activities. So it's like the time that I did have is now going in other places, but there are still moments where I feel like I could probably squeeze it in, right? So yeah, so be open-minded to the idea of your journey. Take those unexpected turns, take those unexpected challenges. If you get a setback, we taking that too. Everything that come with it, because at the end of the day, if we trust in the process, we gonna get there. If we being consistent, we gonna get there. Okay, so next, this will be number 5, I think, y'all. Trusting the process can help you manage your time wisely by allowing you to focus on the present moment and the steps that you can take to move forward. When you trust the process, you are able to accept the progress that may not happen immediately or on a predetermined timeline that you thought was going, oh, okay, I could do this in 6 months, and it didn't work out like that. It took 8 months or it took a year. Like, it happens. It happens. And that success may require patience and persistence. So by focusing on the steps, like the current steps in your process, so by focusing on those, you can take in the present moment. You can avoid becoming overwhelmed by long-term goals and deadlines, and instead approach your task with a sense of calmness and purpose. So additionally, trusting the process can help individuals avoid the temptation to rush through tasks or cut corners, whatever they want to do, which can ultimately lead again to you having unsatisfactory results or being burnt out. So take the time to do the things properly, do them thoroughly, and you can achieve better outcomes and feel more fulfilled for your work. Okay, so one way to avoid anxiousness and nervousness while trusting the process is to cultivate a sense of mindfulness and present moment awareness. This can this can involve practices such as meditation. Y'all gonna hear me talk about this right here. Let me pause. Meditation is exactly what I do when I want to hear from God. And so I was listening to another podcast, and right now it's not coming to mind because I don't mind mentioning no podcast. I heard that's also great advice when people know that you listen to other podcasts and are interested in what you listen to. But they were saying that people always talk about praying to God, right? But when you praying, you still talking. And so if you're having a conversation with a friend and you talking and they talking at the same time, how did y'all hear each other, right? And so if you want to hear or you want to get clear on something, you have to quiet your mind, and that's all meditation is. You don't have to sit here with your legs crossed and your thumbs and fingertips up to the ceiling. Like, that's not what you have to do, because when I meditate, y'all, I promise I ain't doing none of that, okay? But it's a moment to quiet my mind and just like be at peace with myself, find my inner peace, be at peace with God, hear from God. It's a number of different reasons that I'm going to meditate, but I can't, like, if it wasn't for me meditating, y'all, I could guarantee y'all that Season Southern, the podcast, still wouldn't be happening today. Like, because I sat there and I heard and I didn't want to obey, and I kept getting pressed with these thoughts like, go ahead and do it, go ahead and do it. And even my friend was like, I remember when you mentioned this 2 years ago. So yeah, it took me 2 years to step out of my comfort zone, but when I started my spirit work and I started to meditate and just really like ask God, what is it that you want me to do? He told me to share my knowledge with the people. And so that's why I have my platform now, okay? All right, but going back to it, we're avoiding anxiousness and nervousness while trusting the process, right? So again, these practices involve meditating, deep breathing. Oh my God. Y'all, deep breathing keep me so calm. Again, a mother of 4, a woman to a man. I have a household. I run a business. I have kids that's in sports, dance. I also have little kids that's still in like this toddler phase right now where they're potty training. Like, I have a lot of stuff that could have me with a bunch of anxiety or a bunch of overwhelmness, and I push through it by deep breathing. No lie, like, I can't make this up. And then 2, visualization. This is something else that can come to you when you meditate, depending on what you meditated for and why. Okay, and so when you visualize, you got to see the rich you. Me and my mentor Jordan was just talking about this, right? And I want y'all to look him up, Jordan Lee Walker, on Facebook. Look up the Plug Hub Network on Facebook, on Instagram. Y'all, when I say that Jordan is like my number one go-to when I'm trying to like work through something, because he keeps this like positive and upbeat attitude, and it's like, you can't be sad when you're talking to him. You can't be frustrated. Like, he is going to reassure you that everything is always working for your greater good. Can't make it up. And we were just talking about, going back to visualization, our rich self, right? And oh, y'all, I gotta go. Okay, because I gotta pick these kids up. This is getting so good. Oh my goodness. Okay. So the rich you is like, if you are an entrepreneur, for sure, you have a certain amount of income that you see yourself making, right? But you today don't make that income, right? And so the you today has to be the representative of the future you. And so if the future you drives a Maserati, that's the first car that came to mind, so I'm thinking of a luxury car, but you know what car you desire, because I desire a Range Rover, and that ain't nowhere near a Mazda, okay? But if you desire a Maserati, for instance, right? And again, right now in your current life, you can't afford that. That's why you desire it. But how does a person look that drives a Maserati, right? Like, did they come out dressed today with like jeans and, you know, a nice shirt, you know, or are they in joggers? Are they in leggings? Like, hell no, they're not. Like, people who have a rich mindset and live a rich life, it's what? Not all about the money. Like, it's your presentation, it's your conversation, it's your mood, it's your mind frame, the rich you. So when you sit and meditate, visualize the rich you. What is the rich you doing? Because they sure not sitting there anxious. They're not sitting here overwhelmed. They're not sitting here depressed. They're not sitting here crying about what ain't and what is. Why? Because they already made the money. Money ain't a problem. You know what I'm saying? Not the money at least, but with more money come more problems. And we know that. They say that all the time. But again, you got to see yourself there or you'll never get there. Okay? So we're practicing while trusting the process to avoid being anxious and nervous. We're practicing meditation, we're practicing deep breathing, and we're practicing visualization. Okay, and all of this can help you stay centered and stay focused on your present moment, because we can't worry about tomorrow and we can't worry about yesterday, because yesterday over with, tomorrow ain't here yet. Okay, we have to work for now. You can help yourself by practicing self-compassion as well. So again, express the gratitude and be compassionate when expressing it for where you are today, because where you are today was not where you were, what did I say, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You ain't there no more, right? And so be compassionate with yourself and stop stressing yourself out, because where you want to go, you're gonna get there as long as you trust the process. Okay, so when you practice self-compassion, you acknowledge setbacks and challenges as a normal part of the process, right? Because again, we don't know what happens along the journey. We just know we're gonna make it because we believe. And so by reframing setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning, you can approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness, rather than fear and resistance. Like, so don't be fearful. Again, that's why it took me 2 years to get here today to speak to y'all, because I was fearful. I was afraid of judgment and what people would say about what my opinion is on the way we should be doing things in life. And this is just opinion based, but everybody got one. Y'all know the saying. So it's just that everybody is also not supposed to agree with me. And so that's what I mean by I stepped out of my comfort zone so that I could be here and share my voice on a platform in obedience to what God has called me to do, right? So yes, by reframing setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning, you can approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness, and then you'll avoid fear and resistance. So it can be helpful to seek support for this. Again, a therapist, a mentor, a supportive friend, someone who can help provide guidance and encouragement along the way for you, okay? And so one thing that I feel like is very fitting for like avoiding nervousness and anxiousness is the serenity prayer. And the prayer goes as follows: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, okay? And I want y'all to find this and like put this on your wall. If you know that you suffer, like deeply suffer from anxiety, because like I've been in that position of like mental health and like having to, you know, use medication to help me. Fortunately, I was able to quit cold turkey and develop coping mechanisms. If y'all want to know some, because you do struggle, I am more than willing to share. Just leave it in the comments, okay, so I can know. But this prayer, like if I had video to this particular episode, I have the serenity prayer on the face of a candle that I've never burnt, and I've had this candle for years. So if I tried to burn it, it probably won't even have a scent at this point, or maybe it would, I don't know, but I'm never burning it, right? And again, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Also, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So the wisdom to know the difference is between what you can and cannot change. So if you can't control it, why are you stressed out? If you think to yourself about what's stressing you, and if it's money, what you need to do: get a job, start a business, do a little side hustle, take out some trash. What do you need to do? And if it's not money and it's the direction that you want to go, have you wrote the vision and make it plain? Like, have you done that? Are you following? Like, do you know what it takes to achieve those goals? Have you wrote that down too? Like, what is it that you can do to change it? And if it's nothing at all whatsoever that you can do, give it to God, because you got to know the difference on what you can fix and what you can't, okay? So I only got a few more points, y'all, because again, like I said, I gotta wrap this up, but it's so good. I love y'all. Thank you for listening. So expressing gratitude for blessings not yet received while trusting the process can involve cultivating a sense of faith and optimism and acknowledging the potential for positive outcomes. It can also involve reframing challenges and setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning, and maintaining a sense of gratitude for the present moment and the steps taken thus far. Additionally, it can be helpful to practice visualization and affirmations. Again, I've been affirming y'all already. So if you don't know how to write affirmations, you gotta learn, because everybody affirmations are different. They are. And I can do that though. I'm actually gonna do a bonus content episode. Like, I'm literally putting this in my notes. We're gonna do a bonus episode on affirmations, and I'm gonna read y'all my affirmations that I have in my phone, because I have like a ton of them. But I'm literally gonna have that, and you can just say them with me, okay? Or let me speak them for you, and you just listen and affirm that is also true for you. Okay, so I just put that in my show notes for the It can be helpful to practice visualization and affirmations, which can help individuals visualize positive outcomes and reinforce their belief in the process. Ultimately, expressing gratitude for blessings not yet received while trusting the process requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty and challenges and a commitment to your personal growth and development. Yeah, that was a word right there. During the time frame of having faith, the time frame of having faith while trusting the process, it's important to remain focused on the present moment and to take actionable steps toward achieving your goals. This may involve setting small, achievable goals and working toward them consistently over time. It may also involve seeking out support from others, again, a mentor, any type of support group. It's important to be open to these new experiences and try new things, even if they may be uncomfortable or challenging at first. So step outside of your comfort zone and embrace uncertainty, and then you can develop new skills and strengths and discover new passions and interests. Ultimately, developing pretty much what I call your life recipe. Like, you got to develop your own life recipe that requires a willingness for you to take risks and for you to learn from the mistakes that you make, any failures. We're really not calling it that. We're going to call it challenges, any challenges, and trust the process of the personal growth and development, okay? One of the best pieces of advice that I could give you before leaving today's episode on trusting the process is to stay patient, baby, okay? And stay persistent. Even when you're facing setbacks and your challenges, stay patient and stay persistent. Be consistent, okay? It's important to remember that success often requires time and effort, and that progress may not always be linear. In addition, it's important to stay focused on your goal and maintain a positive attitude even when you're faced with adversity. You have to stay positive. So seek the support of family, friends, therapists, mentors, support group, however you got to do it that works for you. Figure it out, and then provide valuable, these people will provide you valuable guidance and encouragement during the process, okay? So don't miss out on the next 2 episodes of Season Southern. You are going to be able to get instant access to episode 3 and 4 by becoming a Patreon member on my Patreon. Well, Patreon subscriber on my Patreon account. Before next Friday, you can hear episode 3, y'all. Ain't that amazing? Look at how much work I'm doing for y'all. Join my exclusive community and receive early access to new episodes, behind the scenes content, and more, okay? Click the link in the show notes to become a patron today and show the support for the show. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Season Southern podcast. Join me next week for a more meaningful conversation about cooking.